Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're here once again with our 99 Jeep Wrangler 4-liter 5-speed. And if you're just joining us now, there's a playlist for this thing, and I'll throw a link for it for you right up there and right down there in the description. And what we're here to do today is put a new belt tensioner idler pulley on this thing, because every time I start it up, it does this. And I'm fairly positive the end reason behind that is going to be this guy right down in here. That guy right down in there. The reason I think that is because I think it comes from this side of the engine, and some years ago I already replaced this one. It still feels good. We threw a new alternator on it not too long ago, and I'll throw a link to that video for you also right up yonder and down in the description. And at that time I inspected the condition of this guy and it was okay, and we put a new belt on it. But as I recall, this guy was feeling kind of crunchy. So that's the whole diagnostic process here. Is pretty sure it's just that one. And to help facilitate our repair, we've got a brand new Mopar here, which is part number 047921112AE. And I'll double check that and throw it in the description for you. To my surprise, made in the United States. That's the good stuff we want. Also to my surprise, and I learned this when I replaced the other one, is these bearings are actually serviceable in these pulleys. They just press out. So if you want, you can just buy a bearing and press them out. I do not want right now, just cause, and I'd rather just get this done. The numbers on that bearing appear to be 6203LU4, pretty sure. And this one happens to be an NTN bearing. So if you want to save some bucks, you can just buy a bearing and whoosh, swap them out, reuse your pulley. So for that reason, I do plan to save the old pulley, just in case this happens. I can service the bearing off the truck and just whoop, whoop, swap them back out. But today we're just going to throw a whole new one on. And doing that on these things is pretty straightforward. I imagine it's the same for pretty much all 4 liters. It looks like that part number is the same anyway. What we're looking at right here on mine, power steering pump, that is our fender down there. What we need to do is back the bolt off on top of it. That bolt over yonder, that guy, is the one that actually controls the tension. So I believe we'll actually want to run that in. We'll righty it on down. That should back the pulley down so we can get the belt off. We'll just take a moment to observe our belt routing. It looks something like so. This Jeep is a 4-liter with air, so yours might be a little different. But that should be pretty much all the magic. I know there's some nibbly bits behind that pulley that are involved in the tensioner that we'll have to keep track of and put back together right, but otherwise I think it's point and shoot. I will bring you guys back when I get that far. Should also mention both the guys we're working with there are 15 millimeters. And it's handy to have yourself a nice long extension to get down here past the temperature probe in the thermostat housing and just get right on that tensioner. So it's just nice to be able to get a little more room to work if you have one of those. I was wrong. Our guy here is a lefty-loosey. You should be able to watch that pulley drop. There she goes. Seems like plenty of slack on the tensioner to get that pulley out of there. Here it is off the motor with its nibbly bits. There's a spacer back here. Whoop, it just pulls off. And then this washer is actually like a machined shim of some kind. So there you go. And here's our old guy. For now, we'll just keep those together like so. And just for fun, this guy also has an NTN bearing. And it looks like it is part number, wonder if they're the same, 6203LAX30. So no, they're different part numbers. And it also, interestingly, it doesn't feel so bad. So hopefully this is our guy. It's got just a little slack in it. When I kind of whiz it around, I can feel a little bit of resistance in it. It's truly not that bad, but we got a new one, so we're going to throw it on. And just for fun, it looks like there's been some part number revisions to this thing. The old one is a 4792112, at least stamped on the pulley, and the new one's a 4792112AE. So this guy's had a few revisions for some reason. Maybe this is a better bearing. There's our newness all combobulated together. I did take some time to clean up that bolt, and I anti-seized the snot out of all this because why not? It's going to get it thrown back on. I don't think there's any special rocket science here, but if there is, I'll bring you back for any tricks I find. Here's a little trick. It's a little hard to find that hole when they didn't put any hair around it for you, but that's a through hole in the tensioner, so you can actually just come around to the back of it and stick a screwdriver straight through it. So now I've got the front of that screwdriver sticking out of that hole so I can find it. Another thing I had intended to mention earlier is the fan blade spacing on most mechanical fans, meaning all of them I've ever seen, is not equal. And they'll give you a spot that's extra wide, and there's the spot on this one. So those two blades have extra width between them, so you can get in there and get your hand on there. So you can just spin that fan around and get yourself some better access. So I found one more place that a guy might get in trouble. And right down there in the middle of the frame, and I know it's really hard to see, try and give you some more light, is the other end of that belt tensioner bolt. So the other end of that bolt is held captive in that bracket. So the idea is this would be your hex head that I just showed you at the top. This bolt goes all the way down through, and there's the block in it that we just threaded the pulley into, and then, you know, it goes up and down this bolt to control the belt tension. This free end of that bolt needs to go in a hole in the bracket that whole assembly bolts do. So just make sure you get this guy in there before you start tightening down on things, or you're going to end up with some wobble geometry that's not going to work out good for you. Hole in the top of the bracket for the top of the bolt, hole in the bottom for the bottom. Your pulley goes in here and slides up and down. Make sure you get that guy in. And of course, make sure you do okay on your belt routing, which I think we have. You can see right there on the water pump, that silver line where the belt used to track. It should pop right back into place when we crank it up. And when we start it up here in just a second, it's not going to prove anything one way or the other with the kind of squeak we had. Because a lot of the times you only get those kind of squeaks like the first start of the day and then they're gone. So we'll have to give it overnight and see if we actually fixed anything. I'm just going to light it off quick to get the belt back in position. Looks like she hopped right back on there. I don't see any more of that silver, and it looks like it's tracking a little more true in the center of the water pump. And of course we didn't squeak when we started up, but we don't know for sure. We'll let it sit overnight. We'll try it again tomorrow. We'll see what happens. So there's been about 20 hours since this thing last ran. Let's fire it up and see if we still have a belt when it lights. Foiled again. Maybe it's that other idler that I've already replaced once in the past. The good and bad news of this is I still have the old idler that we can press the bearing in and out of, and that'll be kind of a fun thing to do just because we can. So that'll be coming soon. We'll just put a new bearing in that pulley, or the old version of that pulley, swap it out, and see if that fixes things. But I think that's going to do it for this video. So as always, guys, I appreciate you stopping in, and we'll catch you on the next one. I'm Max, that's Saddington Bear, and we make videos like this all the time. Here are a couple links to some other videos we've made, and we really appreciate you guys stopping in.